since gotten back from vacation. I'm just waiting for more people to enter the stream as well here. So if for some reason it's a little scattered, it's because I just opened the live stream and just started it. But yeah, hi everyone. I feel like I don't do live streams and stuff that often, so I'm gonna give it a shot today. So this is completely off the cuff, not scripted at all. If any of you guys do get into the chat, make sure to say hi and say where you're from. So today live is going to be a little bit different topic than what we usually talk about on like my YouTube channel and all of that. But today I really just wanted to address a topic that I feel like, hi, how are you? That I feel as though is not discussed enough on the internet. And I have a very like different take on this. So basically what I want to say is I don't really talk about my dating life or my personal life on this YouTube channel. Not much, if any, like at all. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna grab my makeup. And the reason for that being is, I don't know, I'm just a very private person, and I selectively post stuff on YouTube and beyond. But it was kind of dawned on me the other night. So I am very picky about dating, and it's not due to like hurt feelings or past experiences. We obviously learn from those experiences and they make you more wise. But I realized that I do have a dating type. Like I absolutely do. I'm sorry, I'm streaming on multiple things, so if I'm looking here and there, I'm trying to see everything. I do have a type, right? And the older I get, I realize sometimes I feel like maybe my type doesn't actually want me. Or, I don't know, it's very hard. So, for example, I grew up very much conservative, all the things. I went to a private Catholic school for like 7 years of my life, and thank you. I learned that everyone is equal. Like I don't see color, I don't see nationality. I see good people and bad people, good traits and bad traits. So that being said, I have like a very nuanced view. And when you go online, you see a lot of like hate and vitriol, a lot of pitting females against males, you know, one race against another race. Why do I bring this up on this channel? I just feel like it's a very important topic that we don't actually discuss like in a realistic way, because you on this side, on the other side of this camera, in the real world where you're at, you probably have things you're looking for, and you feel like maybe, you know, there's no one really speaking on the dilemmas you're running into trying to find a good match, right? Someone who's actually sane. And there's so many variables. Like, I can say 20 years ago, I was a kid, and a lot of people these days, they, you know, 20 years ago, they weren't a kid. They were like a baby or a toddler. I'm starting to show my age, guys. Back in my day, 20 years ago, the world was different. It really was different, like if we're being honest. And social media and the internet wasn't really so prevalent like it is now. And I think that really has impacted the dating scene and how we interact with one another. I feel like it's very superficial or easier. Hi! Hey y'all! Hey everyone! It's a lot easier to be disingenuous online and not be your true self. So all that saying, I don't see color, I don't see race, I don't see anything, right? I have a personal type. Growing up under those conservative values and all this stuff, I look for something more traditional myself. Like that's just me. And that in itself is actually really hard to find these days. Someone who still has like that old school belief ingrained in them. Um, a lot of people will say that's dated. That, you know, people that are like in their late 20s, early 30s, like you guys gotta get with the trend and, you know, be more progressive. And that's cool for some people. For me, I do tend to look for certain things. So I have felt so frustrated lately in the dating market. I have felt like what I'm looking for in a partner has not been out there. And I know there's an exception to every rule. I know that you can't blanket statement, but when I don't do dating apps, I don't do any of that. I'm just like, I'm appalled by some of the stuff I see. And the people that I would be interested in, like real talk guys, I should be doing my makeup. I'm not even paying attention. Sorry. The guys that I'm interested in, it seems like they're not interested in me. And I'm not trying to be like putting myself down or anything. I'm sure that there's people out there that feel the same way as I do. Like, I have never, and this is gonna get very personal, y'all. The internet's forever, but this is like literally real life. So I've never been attracted to people that look like me, like that are of my same, like are dark skinned. I know that's gonna sound really bad, guys, but like hear me out. I'm trying to like break this down. It's more than just a preference. It's just what I grew up with a lot growing up, and I've always felt like a little bit of the oddball for wanting to explore outside of my race and to see what else is out there. And that's always been my default. That's what I've been most attracted to. But when I tell you, in the real world, I've gotten the most rejection. I've gotten led on the most. I've been treated kind of like a fetish by that group that I personally want. And it's disheartening. And it's like this weird thing where you're conditioned by society at such a young age to date people within your group, right? Like if you date outside of that, then you're bad, or you know that's not how it should be. And that's what a lot of us here growing up. I know when I was in middle school, even I had a crush on someone who happened to be white. I think possibly they were white. I don't know. They could have been Italian or something else. But anyways, then everyone in the class was like, they looked at me like weird, like, and then they looked at the other black kid in the class, and they were like, well, you two would look cute together as a couple. You should totally date them. And I'm like, why? Like, we have nothing in common. I'm not attracted to them. Just simply because we're both brown, that we should be dating each other. I was like floored and flabbergasted, even as a kid, because I think that we all split into two camps. Either the camp that goes their own way and just doesn't follow societal norms and BS, and then the other camp, which, you know, decides to conform. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to be seen as weird or, you know, ostracized or have to go through the hurdles of doing. But that was so random. They'll just leave a message if need be. But yeah, yeah. Someone said stick to your own race. That's the problem. It's just I'm not attracted to that. You know. Hopefully, I'm still alive. I'm not sure what the heck happened. Yeah, no, I'll never just stick to my own race because people tell me to do that. Like, if I'm personally not attracted, it's not that I think it's bad or because I love being black. I love my race, nationality, whatever. It's just not personally what I want to date. And I think it's just absolutely asinine that we are just trained that we should date people that look like us. You know, like I don't know. It's just been my problem lately with the dating scene is if I get with someone who is of a different nationality, let's say they're white or something, then I feel like it goes one or two ways. Either I'm like a fetish, or somehow we get down the line, like a year or something, and then, you know, they start hearing a bunch of nasty stuff from family or friends, like stereotyping, right? Like, oh, well, black girls are so loud and obnoxious and this and that. None of this is true about me, but that's what people hear. Like, that's what I think keeps people separate, because no one wants to really go through the bumps and bruises of that. And it is difficult. And I caught myself the other day. I was just like, it's like trying to find a unicorn, right? Someone who's genuinely just not going to care about societal BS and just do what they want to do. And the most attention I get is from brown people. The most, you know, like, but it's just, I've always rejected it. It's never been anything that's like, been like, oh, wow. And people would assume that that's what I like, but I genuinely don't. Like, and I feel bad sometimes because I literally show like no interest in it, but it's just never been my preference. And the reason I'm streaming this is like, number one, I feel like it's a broader discussion that people are afraid to have, and people are afraid to like be open and honest about their preferences and what they want. Because number one, I don't care about family or friends judging me because of what my preferences are, or what I am attracted to, or what I want to do with my life. Some people cannot say the same, and I struggle to think, are you really happy with your life being controlled or falling into this strict uh, doctrine for how you have to live your life? Like, that has to be the saddest thing. And yes, it's harder. Yes, I do think that there should be like more avenues and more, less stigma, more acceptance of that. You know, I ask myself a lot, like, why is this a thing? Why do we want to keep people that probably are good matches, that would be happy together, apart? Because we want to tell them, oh, well, that's not how it should be. That's not how it's always been. You should date your own kind, right? Like, it's not. It's messed up. Number one, and number two, it prevents us from doing and feeling and living the lives that we want to authentically live, and that pisses me off. Like, it really genuinely does. Um, and I've always said I'd rather be single than settle for a life that is not one that I want to live. You know, and it's not a knock to anyone. I feel like this could be misconstrued. I think of everyone as equal. I think everyone's beautiful in their own skin. Like, I genuinely don't judge people based off of that. So I don't want this video to be misconstrued that way. What I'm saying is, you would think in 2025 that we've gotten so far from that, that we're just so evolved. But I think we've actually gotten worse. Like, you go online on social media, like I was saying before, and you'll see, if you go in the comments, you'll see a bunch of trolls talking about, you know, brown people, and it's just like, you click on their profile, and it's like everyday Joe Blow down the street, and I'm like, I think it's just put a magnifying glass on people and spotlighted how people really feel. It's given people a microphone to express all that they actually feel behind closed doors. So in that regard, I don't think that we've actually come a long way. I think that we actually are in a very divisive point in time. All this to say is that I've never had trouble attracting whoever I wanted to attract. It's more so going the long haul and finding someone who actually wants to be their own person these days is so hard. It really is. You would think that there's so many people that are like trailblazers and they don't care and they're just really confident and reassured themselves. No. Uh, there's a lot of very insecure people who kind of just get in line to get by, and that's really unfortunate. Like, it really is sad. I don't know if any of you guys have like felt this or feel this. really say on this quickly before I jump off is that having a relationship just to make TikToks and just to make reels and have like a family channel and all this stuff is so, we gotta do better. Like, if we keep living our lives so inauthentically and just for monetary value or clout or just, you know, to fit the trend, like we're just gonna be living very empty, vapid lives. And I've seen that. Like I like go on, just like you guys do, I scroll TikTok, I go on YouTube, and I see a lot of these family vloggers, and I don't see a real connection. If anything, I see a lot of, you know, trendy content, you know, cute mixed kids and all this stuff, and that sells. But like, is it real? Is it authentic? Would you be doing this in a post 2020 world if it was just no camera, just you living your life? I think the reality that we can say is probably not. And yeah, it's just insane to me. Um, and you know, moral of the live stream here, guys, love it, hate it, thumb it down, whatever, is even if it's harder, typically whatever is harder in life is the best thing for you. The easy road that everyone travels, like 80% of the world travels, is probably not the path you should be picking. Just because there's a poem or quote or something from Robert Frost. Like, I think the name of the poem is The Road Less Traveled or something like that. And it, like, it's so poetic and real. Like, you know, the road that's less traveled is the scariest, it's the most foreign, and, you know, it will probably have the most obstacles, right? And it's scary because not a lot of people travel it. But if you have the courage to, I think that it's the most fruitful and you'll get the most out of it. All of this to say, guys, go for who you love and don't try to bend to societal BS like most people do. If you have friends or family that have like I don't want to say racist beliefs, but are ignorant in certain ways, correct them. Don't just sit there and go along with it. Don't just co-sign it. Don't believe a bunch of nonsense, especially when it's passed on generationally. um, you're raising kids that are going to have an ignorant mindset, and that's all they're going to know. And most people aren't going to question these things. They're just going to accept it as, oh, well, you know, this is what my parents thought, and this is what I'm going to teach my kids. Like, no, be the cycle breaker. Be the person in your family that says, you know what? I'm going to live for me. I'm going to live and do what makes me happy in my life. You know, if my family's not cool with it, cool. Then, you know, they're not really my people. I genuinely do think that, guys, that people that love you and care about you, they're not going to try and like convince you to live a life that's not your own in order for them to feel good. Like, that's so ridiculous, honestly. Um, and I really wanted to just post this because you see a lot of like very fake content online, like the woketivists and the people who just want to follow the trend and just post things to go viral, talking about, oh my gosh, dismantling racism, oh my gosh, I'm dating a black guy, oh my gosh. Like, at a certain point, you start to get brain rot. It's like, it's so disingenuous. It's like, how could anyone really think that this is real? You know, like, it's obviously like a cash grab or, you know, trying to seem like you're woke and all this stuff when in actuality, you're just kind of riding a trend. So sometimes I feel like I keep a lot to myself regarding this stuff, and I don't like to bring my personal life into things. But in other ways, I feel like this is something that is important to talk about, and there's not enough discussion about it. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of say all these things on my YouTube channel and kind of give like a little bit of a PSA to you guys. Like, in such like a superficial world, where everything is just all about public persona, likes, and all this stuff. Reminder to just be real with yourself. Be real with what you want, what you don't want, and to not live inauthentically. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something I had to really grow out of. And back to the whole dating preferences thing, I don't take anything personally, nor should anyone that's watching this. Those are just my thoughts and opinions. And you are absolutely welcome to disagree. I already had someone comment that I should stick to my own race, which it's such an ignorant thing. I can't believe that people actually think that. Um, let's see. Hi Braxton. I'm wearing some. Oh shoot! I almost fell back. I'm wearing my New Balances right now. Let's see. Hi Braxton. Hi Ronnie. Hi Christina. Let's see. I am recording it actually. Uh, questions. How do you block people on here? Yeah, but all of that to say, I personally think that it transcends race, right? Like, you're going to run into a lot of very ignorant people in life in general. A lot of people just don't, like, their brain, I feel like it just stops developing in certain ways after, like, high school. Like, they just don't, like, that's the peak that it's going to get to. They don't really want to think, they don't want to evolve and grow, and they stay in a very, like, high school, middle school thought process. So you always have to look at where the message is coming from. Are they coming from a place of hurt feelings? Are they coming from a place that's unevolved? Because the messenger sometimes does not need to be believed or taken seriously. Me, on the other hand, I absolutely think that we're all equal in this world, and I think that regardless of it being harder, I don't think it's impossible. And the right people will always gravitate to you guys. I always say this on this channel, and I mean it like 100%. Regardless of what you your situation is, or who you choose to love, if it comes from a pure place, if you are looking for that to be reciprocal, eventually you'll find that. You just have to be very resolute and just dodge a lot of the ignorant people, or the people who just want to bring you down, that want to control you, or want you to be what they think is acceptable. And I was in a recent relationship, I would say a few years ago, where everything was fine between us, but I felt like there was a lot of pushback on his family side, or just on his side in general, friends and whatever, that would like to put me in like this box, like this stereotypical box of what a black woman is in their heads, right? Because a lot of his friends had not dated black women or been around them to know that we are not just our stereotypes, right? Like, and I honestly feel like my partner at the time, he buckled. He absolutely kind of buckled to that pressure. And do I say, oh, well, you know, he's horrible for that, blah, blah, blah. I was mad at it for a time, but ultimately, it's a lot, and it's so much BS. that we all need to individually call it out and call it out for what it is. Um, only things will only change, and I am not under the impression that racism or discrimination will ever leave. I honestly think in my lifetime it'll always be around, right? In some form or fashion, no matter how woke we get or how progressive we get, it's not going to really erase it. But the one thing you can do is, if you feel a certain way in your heart of hearts, call it out. Call people out that perpetuate certain things. Because if you don't hold people accountable, like in your life, they'll just keep acting that way. They'll keep thinking that that's okay to do and normal. And I don't know where I was going with this slide, but hopefully this makes sense and is something that you guys can take home with you, like to think about. Um, don't let the internet program you, right? Like if you go on TikTok, if you go on Facebook, whatever, you'll see a lot of reels, you'll see a lot of like content, and don't think that you have to be that person or be this ideal that you see online in order to feel like you're living the right life that you should be living. Everything online is to program you. It's fake. It's not real. It's not even what that person is actually probably experiencing in life. It's fake. It's not real. And I think that with it being so prevalent, like back when I was a kid 20 years ago, somewhat like that, there was no TikTok, there were no, I don't think there was even really social media. I think there was like AOL chat rooms and chat rooms in general, but that was it. Like there was none of this middle ground where people can just kind of be just fake online and all these things. So educate yourself a little bit. Pick up a book, read it. Understand that a lot of these things are meant to keep you doing things that will keep you on the sheep mentality, that will keep you in that herd. And school, all these things, it's not meant to make you a thinker. It's not meant to help you step out of these systems. It's not institutions like college, for example, or high school. My experience, my thought process is it's meant to make you a group thinker, not a individualist or a free thinker. And when you think about that, it's very profound. So not just dating preferences, it could be really anything that you think. It may not even be your own want and desire. It probably is something that you fundamentally have been programmed to think is correct or the right way to go about life, but it's not truly your authentic self. It's not really, and that's why so many people later on in life have like a midlife crisis, because they didn't take the time in their 20s and 30s to just live the lives they wanted to live, to live authentically. And then you're 40, 50, and you're wondering why my life sucks, why I'm depressed, and why I don't have all the things I want, and my life doesn't feel like my own. Because you let people rob you of that. You let people steer the narrative of what your life will be. And life is very short, guys. Like, don't let all this fleeting, temporary crap fool you. Like, you have one life, and like 20 years, it seems like a long time, but in the large scope of things, 20 years is nothing. It's nothing. And it'll fly by an instant, and it'll feel very empty if you don't actually live it authentically. And circling back all the way to where I started with this, and my disdain for how race and all this stuff impacts like our dating pool and all this stuff. Not at all am I mad. I think it's an area where I can shine light on it and maybe do something, I don't know, like have like a meetup event that empowers people stepping out of their comfort zone, like a safe place, like because it is an issue. It is something where I hate it. I hate when people make a lot of stereotypes against me, me, not knowing how I grew up. Because how I grew up is probably very similar to how they grew up. But when they see this, it's like a wall goes up. Like, it's like, it's hard to describe it because for a long time, I I was always the one to say I don't see color, I don't see any of that. I see people as people, and I understand that concept. I see everyone as a human being, yes, but if we're disingenuous and say that we treat everyone equally, we don't. We absolutely don't do that in our day to day lives. If we see a Muslim person walking through the airport and they look suspicious, it triggers a visceral reaction in a majority of people. If we see a group of, black men wearing ski masks and hoods in a store, based off of what you've seen online, you may think that they're about to rob the store, even if they're not. Like, I think it's just disingenuous to assume that we don't have stereotypes and stuff. But what we can do is know how to dismantle those things, fix our communities. One thing I'll say is me being attracted or not attracted to one race or another has nothing to do with color or stereotypes. It's more so just a preference for me. Um, but for some other people, it's absolutely based in stereotyping and, disdain for people that don't look like you. Um, so we just all have to do better. Um, my community included, guys. Like, I think that the crime, all these things, it needs to be like fixed, and that's something that really bothers me. Is I don't like the victim mentality. I don't like certain attributes of the black community. And the only way to really fix these things is to fix the community as a whole. But when we don't have a lot of players in the black community that are speaking up and against these things, then you're gonna have Sexy Reds, Cardi B's, whoever else, bad actors that speak for the community and make us all collectively fit these stereotypes, right? So it's such a big issue, and I don't actually think it's being fixed by woketivists on TikTok trying to tell you, oh my gosh, then George Floyd, all these things, like, it's stupid. It's so stupid. All it does is further divide us as a people. Um, so yeah, that's just how I feel, guys. I'm sorry. It may come off very like rude and just maybe taken the wrong way. All of this stemmed for me last night. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I love to date. I'm a sucker for like a cute Italian guy. Funny story. So, um, when I was younger, I always thought that people who looked different than me were just so interesting. Like, because you can learn things from them. You can broaden your horizons, Like, that's always been appealing to me. And I would realize that a lot of people don't go that route because they want what's going to be familiar to them and what's going to be comfortable. And then stepping out of that comfortability, that comfort zone, is very scary for some people because it's like venturing into the unknown. I've always, and I thought about that the other night. I'm like, I've always liked that idea. Like, I've never been afraid to do that. If anything, it's been something I've gravitated to my whole life. And I don't hate or try to like say that one way is wrong or the other way is right. But I do challenge people that like want to stay in their comfort zone. Why do you want to stay there? Does it feel safe to you? Does it feel like more of an easy option? Is it something that you're so ingrained and programmed that you just have always went that way? I don't know. It's something maybe you should ask yourself, Because in your comfort zone is where you'll stay stuck. You won't learn, you won't grow, you'll never really evolve in your comfort zone. So, all that to say, guys, this was a very rambly live stream and a very random one. I don't always like to stay on brand and on topic. Sometimes I like to branch off and just talk about something completely off the rails and different. Um, and just to kind of put like a final bow on this, because I feel like I did give you guys some truth bombs, some, thoughts in my head. Um, Always love who you want to love, regardless of what people say about it. Seriously, guys. Um, that is a very hard thing to do, believe it or not. And it really does test you. It separates the weak from the strong. The courageous from the cowardly. It's very, very true. And you have to make that decision. Are you going to live the life that you want to live, that's authentic to you, and that people may not understand, that may mean that you're alone, that you're an outlier? Or are you going to conform? Those are questions you have to ask yourself, and not just, in a post 2020 world. I feel like what triggered a lot of people's revelations, in relations to so much, I felt like was that pandemic. We all felt like the world was kind of somewhat ending in a lot of ways, and our world was flipped upside down, and that triggered, strong emotion in a lot of people. But just always be aware of why you feel the way you do. Is there an underlying reason for it? Um, don't just follow the herd because it seems like that's what you should do, or it's trendy, or that government is telling you that that's what you should do, or that artists are telling you you should be doing that. Do what's right for you, because eventually it'll all work out. It'll all pan out in your favor when you stay to your guns, you stick to who you are intrinsically, and you don't become shapeable. And yeah, that's kind of like the moral of this stream, of this live, of what I was trying to drive home to you guys today. Even for me, recently I realized that I needed to unplug from my phone. I just got back from Miami, and I realized I'm just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb and throw it into a drawer and not really pay attention to it. Because number one, it's just, I'm old enough to remember that we were able to survive and thrive without a mobile device being on and in our hand 24/7. And I remember that I was a much happier person when I did not have a phone in my hand all the time. Go figure. So that's my affirmation for myself, is to make it a point to not have my phone on me 24/7. So I am not having to see posts that trigger me, or that are like hateful in nature or low vibrational. Because that's going to cause me to have a bad day. And comparison is the thief of joy. Even if it's good content, even if it's stuff that's like uplifting, you're going to still be comparing your life to other people and thinking that maybe your life has shortcomings, or that you should be doing differently, even if that's not the case. So that's it. I'm going to finish my makeup and then clock in for work. Oh, my phone's going to die, so perfect timing. Hopefully this video wasn't just too all over the place and you guys took something from it. Moral of the live here is to be yourself, be your own person. It'll be okay. Life will keep on going smoothly if you choose to do what's true to yourself. Stay offline. It is something that's going to really help with your mental health. And everyone is just an average person at the end of the day. Watch who you glorify and who you put on a pedestal and who you watch every day, because you are the sum of the 5 people that you consume the most from each day. And if you're consuming the wrong information, it can really take a toll on you. So just be very cognizant of the information that you're taking in and who that messenger is, because sometimes Not everyone should be a activist or a woketivist or should be giving out, you know, wellness advice and telling you how to live your life, because sometimes they aren't living the life that is in accordance to what they're telling you, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, make sure you're choosing the right people to listen to. If someone isn't living the life that you want to live, you might not want to listen to their advice. Just a thought. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream. I know it was very sporadic, very random too. Um, leave your comments, thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you guys do enjoy live streams and just, you know, chatting, then definitely leave a thumbs up so I know to jump on and do more. Holy poop, I've been on here for 40 minutes. That is insane. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day, a blessed day, wherever you're at in the world. Bye. See you later.